Hello everybody, how are you doing today? My name is Zach GG, and today we're going to continue Virtue's Last Reward. In the last episode, we have completed Clover's ending and of course Kay's ending. Learned a shocking surprise in Kay's ending. I am not going to spoil that surprise. You just have to watch the previous part, part 7, in order to find what happened during Kay's ending. And we are working on pretty much the 7th path right now. The path on the left, as soon as we got past the cyan doors, we did the crew quarters. Possibly one of the hardest along the first 3 primary doors. And so far along the path that I'm doing down there, Alice is a little hypocrite. She is easily despisable throughout that path so far. There are easily at least 2 instances that I can think of where Alice is basically a hypocrite. First of all, during pretty much the voting, she voted Betray, and she says that anyone who doesn't pick Betray is, well, basically an idiot. Considering that she had voted Ally during her other path so far, at least in the first Nonary game. Yeah, at least the first AB voting game. Yeah, that's hypocritical so far. And then, when it came to choosing pretty much which of the second group of chromatic doors to go through, when people suggest, you know, hey, why not let the people with the least BP choose? And then Alice is like, what? This is not fair. I say we can take a vote. That is more fair. Yeah, when Alice is in 1 BP, she has no problem going along with lowest BP votes. But then when she's not at 1 BP, she's at 5. And she's like, no, we're not doing that. Let's vote instead. Yeah, very hypocritical. Anyway, yeah, let's continue on that path. Because we just finished pretty much the bee garden. And it's rather interesting. So let's continue on. No sooner had we stepped out of the garden than I saw the 3 people I watched leave through the green door sometime earlier. Whoa! What are you guys doing here?
We ought to be asking you the same thing. How'd you get here?
Sigma, hand me the map.
Map? Oh, right. I dug the map out of my pocket and spread it out in front of us.
You 3 came in through the blue door, right?
Yeah.
And which room did you go into?
This fan-shaped one. It's called the Bee Garden.
Bee garden?
It's this big dome with a bunch of plants in it. Look, you can go see it for yourself later, alright?
What about you guys?
Well, after we went through the green door, we ended up in the treatment center.
And they connected. And then we met up here. Right here.
So, what's the treatment center? It sounds a lot like the infirmary.
You want to have a look? We can go back to any of the rooms we've already visited.
Oh, just invite us to view the treatment center, but
So?
we're not inviting you to go to the bee garden, at least not yet. Sure, let's have a look. After a few moments of brisk walking, we found ourselves in the treatment center. If there's a problem in this game that I noticed, I'm gonna say it. I'm still not gonna say that meme. I really am not. What are those?
They're why this is called a treatment center. Those pods can cure a number of illnesses and even repair certain injuries.
Whoa, that's nuts.
How about you climb in one of them, Dio?
Why?
Well, maybe it can fix whatever's wrong with your brain.
Hey, you You want to start something, lady?
Calm down now, son. You don't cool off a bit and I'll have to throw you in one of these pods here.
Huh? Why?
Weren't you paying attention? They have a cold sleep function. I figured that ought to cool your head up.
Wait, did you say cold sleep? That's where they freeze you, right? And you could stay that way for a really long time?
Yeah?
According to some records we found in here, until about 8 hours ago, there were 3 frozen people in these pods.
3 people? Who?
You mean 3 of us were?
We don't know. All we found was what was in the logs for the pods.
How long were they here?
No idea. Part of the logs were erased. All that's left is when the cold sleep function turned off. It records them thawing out, getting up. That's it.
Then they could be anyone.
Well, anyone but you.
What? Why not Alice?
Because you don't need a device like this to freeze Alice. Am I wrong?
Huh? What are you talking about?
You don't need to play dumb. The water in your body isn't normal water. It's something called Ice 9.
How would Temiochi know about Ice 9 pretty much? Only a few people have ever even heard of Ice 9 to begin with. So far it's pretty much confirming along with my theory. I'm still not saying anything yet.
It freezes at 96.8 degrees. That means all you have to do to put yourself in cold sleep is drop your body temperature below 96.8. No fancy machine needed.
Where on earth did you hear that?
From Clover.
Clover?
When we were exploring the lounge during the first round.
I see.
Oh, Clover said it. Oh, never mind then.
What's so funny?
Oh man, you fell for that one hook, line, and sinker, didn't you? Clover was messing with you. That is, if she even said anything to you at all. It was a lie. A joke?
A joke? No, there's no way it was a joke. I'm sure about it. Your body is made of Ice 9.
Well, you're mistaken. It's a ridiculous misunderstanding. An urban legend.
With seemingly no other prompting, Alice launched into a lengthy explanation. It went something like this. At some point in the past, someone found a frozen mummified Egyptian queen. Yeah, this is basically just gonna be about the same story as in 999. What was curious about this mummy, however, was that it remained frozen at room temperature. People began to refer to her as All Ice, which eventually became simply Alice. Rumors that her body was made of Ice 9 began to circulate, and her bizarre refusal to thaw only compounded them.
They say that the mummy finally thawed, and when it did, it began to move. And ever since then, I've had people say they thought I was her. I mean, really? How could anyone believe something so ridiculous? The existence of this mysterious Alice and of this ice that doesn't melt are just urban legends.
But why would people make that mistake about you in particular?
It can't just be because your name's Alice. There are tons of Alices.
Is it because of your face and how you look?
Well, it is true that I am both beautiful and elegant. Can I really be blamed if people think I'm an Egyptian queen? I don't think that's the only reason, though. Someone who made that mistake said something to me once. They claimed they'd seen me before. Of course, I immediately pressed the issue. Do you mean the mummy, Alice? I said. When? Where? Of course, they were at a loss. In fact, I began to feel a little sorry for them. So I told them something. If you're so convinced, then maybe I am actually Alice. But maybe I've lost my memory and can't remember who I am. And so on and so on. I'm still not sure why Clover would tell you something like that, though. Even if she was just messing with you, it seems a little out of left field.
You really think she put that much thought into it? She was probably just screwing with him, and it was the first thing that came to mind. Maybe she wanted to see if she could get him to believe something completely ridiculous.
Yeah, I could see her doing something like that. Well, I think that's enough idle gossip for now. The cold sleep business is interesting, but I don't think it's terribly useful. We should go see if the other team has returned to the warehouse yet.
At Alice's request, we made our way out of the treatment center. Alright. This is...
It looks like another warehouse.
It looks like the same warehouse.
Hey, look.
3 more doors.
They're all glowing white. You think?
These might be the next set of chromatic doors.
I'd bet on it. Look, they've got the same boxes next to them as the other doors.
So the next set of doors are white?
They haven't all been the same color before.
We definitely need to tell the others about this.
Right. Let's head back to floor A. Hold the lever down, open the door. Anyone getting tired of that map? I am.
Oh, thank goodness. You finally returned. I was beginning to get anxious.
Did something happen?
Yes. It's Quark, you see.
What? What happened to Quark?
He collapsed. It happened so suddenly. We were just searching our room.
He's succumbing to the effects of Radical 9. Oh, sorry, Radical 6. Why did I say 9? It's Radical 6, Radical 6, Radical 6, not Radical 9. Ugh.
Please, you must hurry to the infirmary. Clover is looking after him, but his condition could change at any moment. You should go.
No.
Tamiochi shoved Kay aside and left through the yellow door. The rest of us exchanged a few startled looks, then ran off after him.
Quark, come on, kid. Get a hold of yourself.
Tamiochi grabbed Quark's shoulders and began to shake him desperately. It was Clover who stopped him.
Hey, what are you doing? He's sick, and we don't even know what's wrong with him. What if you make him worse?
Then what am I supposed to do? I have to save him.
Save? That seems a little extreme. Maybe he just has anemia or something.
No, that's not it. I know him better than any of you. He doesn't have anemia. He's never just collapsed before.
Well, then call an ambulance and stop freaking out about it.
Really, Dio? How the heck would you call an ambulance inside here?
You son of a bitch. This is serious.
The infirmary seems pretty well equipped. There are plenty of diagnostic tools, but
Without a doctor, there's not going to be much we can do with him.
Good thing we know one. Oh, right. Well, we've got Luna.
Luna?
That's right. I remember Dio saying something. You have a medical license, don't you?
Wait, really? Is that true, Luna?
Well, yes, but...
You have to take a look at him. Please. Quark needs your help.
Okay, I'll see what I can do. I think that machine over there is a medical scanner. It's called an atom. It uses nuclear magnetic resonance imaging to examine and diagnose people.
So that thing can tell us what's wrong with Quark?
Yes, I believe it can.
I don't want to rush you, but the sooner the better. Just let us know if you need anything.
Of course.
Yeah, Luna should know what this machine is. She must have interacted with it down this path, at least. The whole process took only a few minutes. The machine scanned Quark's body, and within seconds his results lit up the screen. Words too complicated for me to understand scrolled across it, and as she read them, Luna's face grew dark. She bit her lip and just stood there for a moment, looking down at Quark before she spoke.
Well, I know what's wrong with him. I feel so terrible saying this, but Quark has an infection. A viral infection.
Oh no.
Oh no. Don't tell me.
Yes. He's been infected with a virus called Radical 6.
Have you heard of this virus? Radical 6, I mean?
Yeah. I told Alice and Tenmyoji about it.
Fi and I heard about it from Luna.
Dio and Luna were two of the first people to investigate the infirmary. They must have seen the newspaper clipping that Quark found. I'd stayed behind after the AB game, and they all split up and gone to different rooms. It seemed like one way or another, everyone had heard about Radical 6.
No. He can't... How could he have gotten infected? That's not possible.
Something about the tone of his voice seemed strange. Why wasn't it possible? Had Tenmyoji known about Radical 6 before the rest of us?
There must be something we can do! How can we cure him?
Well, Adam says there's an antiviral serum called Excelivir. It's the only way to counteract Radical 6. If we can inject him with some, he should be okay.
Where is it? Shouldn't it be in the infirmary somewhere?
Yeah, we looked around, but we didn't see anything.
I don't trust a damn thing you say. I'm asking Luna.
I'm sorry, but Dio's telling the truth. We didn't find anything.
Damn it. What about the other rooms? Sigma, what about you? Did you find anything?
No, nothing like medicine. I mean, it was just like a park. Lots of vegetation stuff, but no medicine.
What about you, Kay? Was there any medicine in your room?
We visited the laboratory. There were a number of chemicals and concoctions there, some of which were medicine. But nothing like what we're searching for, I'm afraid.
Hold the phone! Hold the phone! If this room is what I'm thinking of, then yes, there should have been Excelivir here. Where the heck is it, then?
Oh, God. He's going to... Oh, God, no.
Look, just to be sure, the three of you went to the treatment center, right? And you're sure it wasn't there?
No, there was nothing even remotely like it. You went there too, didn't you? The only thing in the treatment center are those treatment pods.
Treatment pods? That's it! If we put Quark in one of those pods... For a moment, there was silence.
Quark?
Quark! Oh, thank God.
If it's happening like some of the other paths, yeah, Quark is gonna kill himself.
You're awake!
Get away from me!
What? Quark, what are you...
Sorry, Grandpa. I can't. I have to.
Have to what? What are you talking about?
Isn't it obvious? I have to escape.
But... how?
Like... this!
Quark's hand moved like lightning. He'd grabbed hold of the scalpel and was driving it straight toward his heart. Stop!
No! Let go! Let go of me!
Pretty tough for a kid. Hey, guys, I could use a hand here.
Yeah, right.
On it.
Me too.
Stop it! Let go of me, you jerks!
Tenmyoji! What the hell are you doing? Get over here! Tenmyoji! Can you even hear me?
Oh, right.
Damn you! Bastards! Why won't you let me go? I have to get out of this body! They can't lock lock away the soul. Once my body's gone, my soul can escape. Please, you have to let me go. Let me go. I'm trapped here. Let me die. I have to die. Kill me. Somebody. Anybody. Kill me. Kill me. Kill me.
Jesus, this kid's lost it. Hey, somebody get that scalpel away from him. Wasn't it Clover that took the scalpel last time? Good. Thanks, whoever that was. Quark barely even seemed to notice the loss of the scalpel. He continued to scream and writhe like he was possessed. What are we going to do? We gotta calm him down somehow.
Luna,
Yes?
are there any tranquilizers in here?
No. Well, I mean,
What?
there's Superel Beta.
Soperil?
That's the anesthetic! The one that's in our bracelets! Good. Perfect. Hit him with some of that.
What?
He'll be fine. It's just an anesthetic, Tenmyoji. It won't hurt him, I promise.
But...
Just hurry up and do it! Come on, Luna!
Okay, let me just...
You know, is Alice even here? I haven't heard her spoke
I got
so
it.
far.
Good. Wait until he's... Now! Do it now!
Right.
No! Stop! Stop!
Respiration, blood pressure, brain waves, everything's normal. According to these readings, he's in a very deep sleep.
Right. I guess we're good for now.
Yes,
What about the anesthetic? How long will it last?
he shouldn't wake up for a few hours.
Man, he sure was strong for such a little guy.
I think that might be the virus's fault. It probably attacks the part of the brain that governs reason. Without anything to hold it back, his body was using every ounce of strength it had.
Yeah? How do you know?
Huh? Oh, well,
How much do you know about this Radical Six?
not much. I probably know about as much as you do. All I've seen about it is that newspaper article.
That the truth?
Why would I lie about that? I've seen other viruses do the same thing. I was just making a guess.
So when Quark tried to kill himself, are you saying that was because of Radical 6 too?
Yes, at least I think so.
So, what kind of virus is Radical 6?
What are you doing?
I turned and followed Tenmyochi's gaze. Oh my gosh, I have a pretty good feeling about what she's going to do now. There stood Alice, her hand wrapped tightly around the scalpel. Apparently, she had been the one to take it away from Quark. The longer I looked at her, however, the more I wondered if she'd taken it to protect him, or for some other, more sinister reason. She didn't seem stable. In fact, she looked far more like Quark had a moment ago than I was entirely comfortable with. Her eyes were flat and hollow. Her face was an emotionless mask. She was not well. Alice? Hey, are you feeling okay?
We're all going to die.
Yep, she has Radical 6.
We're all dead already. Only terrorists would resort to biological warfare. But they will. Soon.
Hey, what the hell are you talking about?
You don't understand? All of humanity is going to die. The virus will spread. Adults, children, everyone. Everyone! There won't be anyone left! I'd rather die here!
Wait! Alice! We were all too stunned to even try to restrain her. We just stood there as she spun around and leapt through the door. Damn it! I shook myself and took off after her. But those few moments of hesitation had put too much distance and too many doors between us. Shit. Which way did she go? Right? Or left? I was still trying to decide when everyone else poured out of the infirmary.
You lost her.
Yeah. I don't know which way she went.
Well, let's split up and look. Quickly. She can't have gotten too far.
Right.
Look, if you find her, it's probably best not to shout or anything. Just do your best not to provoke her. Understood?
Gotcha.
Myoji, I think you should stay here with Quark. The rest of us can look for Alice. Sound good?
Yeah, I stay here. Got it.
All right, let's move, people. Get going.
At Fi's command, we scattered, filtering off into the different doors. As I ran, I thought, where would I look for Alice? Perhaps the lounge would be a good bet. Yeah, I probably have a good feeling about where Alice is right now, and the lounge probably isn't a good bet. If the other 4 times she died in that same location is a good indication, she's probably in the crew quarters. No one here, huh? Damn. Where'd she go? Complaining wasn't going to help anything. I needed to go look elsewhere. I'd honestly want to make sure that the entire first floor is clear before moving down the second. It was moving down to the B area. And yeah, we're investigating every room but where she actually died in, what it seems like. Shoot. Nothing in the treatment center either. We need to find her quick or she's gonna do something bad. If we hadn't stopped Quark. I need to hurry. I head to the guard next. Do we really need the map for this? We know where these rooms are. Yeah, if the map is going to be this continuous of a problem, I'm still going to complain about it. I'd only gotten a few steps from the walkway through the grass when I stopped short. Oh, never mind. It was another pathway. I'm actually surprised that Alice didn't die in the crew quarters. Thank goodness. Alice!
Here you are. Good. I'm glad you showed up.
Huh?
I just got here a minute ago. She was like this when I found her. When you showed up, I was getting ready to carry her to the infirmary.
Then she's, alive?
Yeah. Her breathing and pulse seem normal. She doesn't appear to have any obvious external wounds.
So she's just unconscious.
Looks like it.
What about the scalpel?
Doesn't look like she has it. Figure she probably dropped it on the way here. Anyway, we need to get her to the infirmary. Give me a hand here.
Right. Alice was later than I expected, and fine, I managed to set off toward the infirmary at a brisk trot.
Alright, please pay attention, everyone. You need to hear this. The Atom has finished scanning Alice.
What did it say?
Her results are identical to Quark's. She has also been infected with Radical 6.
On their way back, Phi had gone off to retrieve the rest of the participants. 7 sets of eyes widened as Luna spoke.
Oh no. No!
What's going to happen to her?
Well, like I said before, there's only one way to cure Radical 6. There's a special antiviral treatment. Do you know what immunoglobulin is?
Immunogoblin?
It's another name for antibodies. Some people have antibodies that can fight off Radical 6. Those antibodies are the basis for Excelavir.
Wait, what about those pods in the treatment center? Can't we just stick them in those?
Right. I thought of that too, so I went and took a closer look at them. Unfortunately...
They can't cure it?
Correct. They can suppress the symptoms for a while, but they can't kill the virus itself. The only way we can help Alice and Quark is if we can find some Excelavir.
But the pods will keep them from getting any worse, right?
Yes.
Well, then what are we waiting for? One of you, grab Alice. We're going to the treatment center.
As he spoke, Tamiochi moved over to Quark and lifted his small, unconscious body off the bed. Quark shifted slightly as Tamiochi moved him, and something fell out of his pocket with a soft clink. Wait, Quark opened the safe first? I bent down slowly and picked it up. Is this medicine?
What?
Well, what is it?
Hold on. There's a name on the label here. Excelavir.
Excelavir! You found it, Sigma! That's the one thing that can cure Radical 6.
Why did Quark have it?
Perhaps he found it earlier.
Earlier when?
We explored the laboratory. It was on the other side of the red door. I happened to notice Quark putting something in his pocket.
He hid it?
Whether or not that was his intention is unclear. I did not have the opportunity to ask, as he collapsed immediately afterwards. It didn't feel appropriate to go digging around in his pockets for it after that. And to be honest, it had also slipped my mind.
Okay, that's excusable.
We were rather preoccupied with getting him to the infirmary as quickly as possible.
Who cares about the details? We have it. Hurry up and give it to her, Luna.
Hey, hold on a minute. What about Alice?
Does it really matter if she goes first or not?
I'm sorry, but I don't think we can do that.
What?
There's only enough here for one person. The only way we have to administer this is with the injection gun. And the way it functions, it uses a whole bottle each time you pull the trigger.
In other words, we can't split the dose in two or something.
Right.
While we all stood stunned, Phi moved. Stepping over to Quark, she quickly ran her hands through his clothes, then stepped back with a frown and a small shake of her head.
Nothing. That one bottle was it.
Do you think there might be some more back in the laboratory?
No, unfortunately not.
No.
Oh, God.
Spell it out. We're going to save them both.
How?
That's... I needed to calm down. Think. There had to be some way to save both of them. It was there. I knew it. And yeah, I think that you need to access the laboratory. Yeah, there's another lock right here. There's enough antiviral medication. That's lock number 4. By the way, it seems you need to basically go through the laboratory, and they'll talk about pretty much the IG replication machine in order to access that lock. I think that's what they're going for.
Do you know what immunoglobulin is? It's another name for antibodies. Some people have antibodies that can fight off Radical 6.
IG replicator?
Replicator makes it sound like it makes copies of stuff.
So it's like a coffee machine?
Yeah, probably copies IG, or whatever that is.
Any ideas?
Who knows? Ice cream by the gallon?
That's it! I've got it! The IG replicator in the laboratory. It's an immunoglobulin replication machine.
What?
It can copy immunoglobulin antibodies. Luna just said Excalibur is made from antibodies. That means we can make more Excalibur.
Hold on a moment. There is a strange device in the laboratory that says IG replicator on it. Clover and I examined it thoroughly when we were in that room.
Yeah, we never could figure out what it did, though.
Exactly. My question is, how do you know about it, Sigma?
I saw it. When I was in the laboratory.
When was that?
Probably when you were looking for Alice, right?
No. Deal was wrong. I hadn't gone to the laboratory when I was looking for Alice. I didn't think I'd ever been to the laboratory. So how did I know about the IG replicator?
If what he's saying is true, then we should be able to duplicate the Excalibur. That would mean we could cure Alice and Quark.
Let's go have a look then. The laboratory, right?
Yeah, no time to waste.
We all nodded. Wait. We can't leave them here all alone. Luna, do you think you could stay behind and look after them?
Oh, of course. I'd be happy to.
Alright then, let's go. Okay, this time it's excusable since we really haven't traveled down this pathway yet.
So this is the lab, huh?
Yes.
Where's this IG replicator thing?
Right here. See?
So this can copy the Excalibur?
I think so.
What are we waiting for?
Calm down, alright? Don't rush me. I carefully lowered the small vial Excalibur into the slot on the side of the machine. An empty vial already protruded from the other side. Presumably that was where the duplicated Excalibur would go. Ready? When I push this button, it should...
Skip it. Just press the damn thing.
Right. And... pressed. Did it work?
Have a look. The empty vial has something in it now.
And the vial Sigma used remains as it was. It does not seem to have lost any of its contents.
So, it worked?
Would have been pretty bad if it hadn't.
Alright, let's get this thing back to the infirmary. I reached down and pulled both vials from the machine, intending to slip them deftly into my pocket. Ah, shit.
What happened?
Sorry, my hand slipped.
You dropped one of them?
Yeah. Just one, though.
What in the hell? What if you'd broken it, you idiot?
Come on! If it broken, then we could have had made... Sorry, I can't speak today. If it broken, then we could have just made another copy. Before Temiochi could reply if I spoke.
Guys?
I was surprised to hear her voice coming from near my feet. I looked down to see her staring intently at something beneath the table.
You see? It did break!
No, the vial's fine. See?
She held it up in one hand, but didn't move her eyes.
Then what the heck is going on down there?
Take a look.
She slid back from the table, quickly and silently. The rest of us bent down to look. Oh, dang, another bomb! A bomb?
Whoa. Really? That makes two then.
Guess Kay was right after all.
So there were more bombs.
So it would seem.
Was this here when you guys came through the first time?
No, it was not.
Yeah, I didn't see anything, and I looked real hard.
Then somebody must have said it while we were looking for Alice.
Who the hell would do that?
We were all out looking for Alice. It could have been any of us.
No, not any of us. I was back in the infirmary. Quark was still out, so I was keeping an eye on her.
So we shouldn't consider you a suspect. Is that right?
Yeah, Quark's off the list too.
But Tenmyoji, you have no proof that you spent the entire time in the infirmary, do you?
What?
You could have quietly made your way to the laboratory, planted the bomb.
That's insane! Listen to yourself! There's no way in hell I'd have left Quark all by himself to go plant a goddamn bomb!
Tenmyoji was still staring furiously at Kay when Clover spoke up.
Hey, what's this thing?
I turned in time to see her grab something from under the table.
It looks like a memory card.
Where was it?
Right under the bomb. It was down on the floor under the table.
Could it have been put here by the same person who set the bomb? There was nothing like it here when we examined this room.
Do you think they dropped it accidentally?
Unless it was left here intentionally, yes. I imagine so.
What do you think's on it?
Well, let's take a look. Could I see it for a minute?
Yeah, I guess so.
I plucked the card out of her hand and looked around the room. Nothing. Shoot. No dice. We'll need to plug it into something that can read memory cards, but I don't see anything here.
So what do we do?
Come on, if I knew I'd be doing it.
10 minutes remain until Ambidex game polling closes.
Okay, hold the phone. Who opened an AB gate? We had no indication that somebody opened an AB gate before.
All players, please enter your votes. If no vote is recorded,
We had
before
no
the deadline
indication
has
before.
passed, any non-voting parties will automatically ally.
Guys, I think maybe we should get back to the top floor.
Yeah, you're right. We've got what we came here for.
What should we do about the, bomb?
Not much we can do except leave it here. Alice said it'd be dangerous to touch them.
True, but
Drop it. We can talk about the bombs later. Right now we need to take care of Alice and Quark.
Right. So we'll go back to the infirmary, give them the Accelavir, and then head to the floor A warehouse.
Right.
Oh, now
This
it's
oughta
skip
do
to the
it.
infirmary.
It might take a little while, but they should recover.
Her voice was quiet as she backed away from Alice and Quark. In her hand was the injection gun. She carefully removed the empty vial and placed it gently in the cabinet with the other one. While we were in the laboratory, Luna had moved Quark to a crude cot. They both looked peaceful as they slept. The madness I'd seen on their faces before was completely gone.
Are they really going to be alright?
Yes. The analysis I did on the vials confirmed that the duplicate was real Accelavir. The original was genuine too, of course. Now that they've been treated,
it's only a matter of time before the virus is eliminated.
I believe so, yes.
Yeah, but what will happen if somebody else caught Radical 6?
Oh man, what a relief. I was really worried.
Clover grinned. Agreed. I gave her a reassuring pat on the back.
5 minutes remain until Ambidex game polling closes.
All right, everybody. We can be relieved later. Right now we need to get to the AB rooms and fast.
Damn. Don't even have time to catch our breath.
Come on, let's go. Other floor A warehouse is waiting. Huh? Where's Temiochi?
Oh, he stayed back in the infirmary.
What?
Why?
Well, when we were all heading out, I noticed he wasn't doing anything. So I asked him if he was coming with us, and this is what I got.
I'm still worried about Quark and Alice. I think I'll stick around and make sure they're okay.
I see. That means that Phi's only opponent will be Dio.
One-on-one, huh?
Ugh.
That's cool. Nothing to worry about. I plan to choose Ally. You know why?
Because I've only got one BP.
Exactly. If you chose Ally and I betrayed you, your BP would drop below 0 and... well, we know what happens then. I want to win, but I'm not that desperate.
Yeah, you are.
You see what I'm saying, right?
Tenmyoji and Dio are a pair. Tenmyoji only had one BP left. Since Dio said he's going to pick Ally, Phi can't really pick anything else. If she does, Tenmyoji will...
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Kay and I are going to be going one-on-one too, right? Since Quark's still sleeping.
That is correct.
How many BP do you guys have?
I've got 6.
As do I.
Ooh. This'll be a tough one then.
If one of them can get the other to Ally, and then betray that person, the betrayer will have 9 points. Look, Kay, I know you don't really have any reason to trust me, but...
I know. You would like us both to vote Ally, yes?
Yeah.
I agree. If we were to both betray, then we would gain no points. We would lose nothing either, but that's hardly relevant. If both of us cooperate, then we will both gain 2 points, which is much more beneficial.
Right. Okay, good. You're really gonna do it, right?
Yes.
Promise?
Promise.
We'll see.
1 minute remains until Ambidex game polling closes.
Shit, this is bad. We need to move, now!
Indeed. Shall we?
Dio, Kay, Phi, and Clover all took off immediately, heading into different AB rooms. Counting from the left, Dio went to room 3, Kay went into room 4, and Phi and Clover went to rooms 5 and 6 respectively. That left Luna and myself. What do you think about taking the one on the far left?
Sounds good.
With that settled, we headed into AB room number 1. Isn't this the room where we always vote in? At least Sigma. The far left. Alright, time to vote.
"30 seconds remain until Ambidex game polling closes."
It's probably a little late to say this, but you know Alice is still in the infirmary, so...
You're saying we should pick Ally, right? Since Alice is going to default to that anyway.
Yes.
I know. It's not really fair to betray somebody who isn't voting. Luna's face broke into a warm, happy smile. Not to be sappy, but it was like a ray of sunshine on a cloudy day. I grinned back at her before I knew what I was doing. For a moment, the Nonary game didn't seem so scary.
10 seconds remain until Ambidex game polling closes. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Alright, well, even though I'm angry at Alice, especially angry at Alice, for pretty much the last decision she made and how she just pretty much forced me to team up with her again. Sigma's right, it's still pretty much unfair to take advantage of a sleeping person like that, so I'm definitely gonna choose Ally.
Round 2 of the Ambidex game has been completed. Results will be displayed in the warehouse. Thank you.
Well, looks like I'm gonna get 2 points, and I'll give Alice another 2 points as well.
Ambidex gates now opening.
Luna and I stepped out of the AB room. Alright, let's go have a look at the results.
Okay.
Alright.
Results
Let's see how
from
everybody
round
else
2
voted.
of the Ambidex game will now be displayed. Please direct your attention to the results screen.
Alright. Here we go. Oh, they managed to both betray, and of course Dio is still the betraying person that he is. What? What the heck? How? Why? Are you kidding me, Alice?
Points have been assigned or subtracted accordingly. Please check your bracelet to see your updated bracelet points.
Oh my goodness. What? It wasn't possible. I blinked, rubbed my eyes, and looked again. No, that's not possible. How can Alice's vote be betrayed? It was a question I would never know the answer to. There was a sharp, quick pain in my wrist, barely even noticeable. I couldn't feel anything flowing into my veins, but I knew it was there. First would be the anesthetic Soporil. I blinked and my vision started to blur. When I tried to think, it felt like my mind had been stuffed with cotton. My legs began to wobble, then gave out entirely as I crumpled to the floor.
Sigma! Sigma! Hang on! Oh no! Sigma! Get up!
Sigma!
Sigma!
No. Why?
My eyelids felt like they were made of lead, but I forced them open. Everything was growing blurry, but I noticed that the door the second AB room was open. No one had gone into that room. I watched them all. Oh, hey Shane, how you doing? I kind of noticed that you were there during yesterday's stream as well, but you didn't answer right there. How are you enjoying the stream so far? And yet there she stood, an apparition that couldn't possibly be real. Gosh darn it, Alice! Alice. The world was gradually going black and my mouth refused to form words, but my head echoed with questions. How? Why? What was she doing there? Had she run in at the last moment after Luna and I entered our room? But even if she had, why choose betray? Then the darkness closed over my mind as well, and my questions were gone forever. Well, Alice, it takes a lot of work to be more hateful than Dio in this game, but you're really starting to get there, Alice. You're really starting to get there. Really. Jeez, Alice. Really? Well, guess I have no choice then. Yeah, I'm so angry about you pick a betray before. Luna and I stepped out of the AB room.
Why? What happened fair to betray someone who isn't voting. I thought...
There was nothing I could think of to say. Even if I did really understand why I picked betray instead, it had almost felt unconscious, like some other part of my mind was making the decision. Perhaps I've been possessed by some sort of evil spirit that moved my finger to the betray button against my will. Right, well, we should go see the results.
We already know what they are. It's just simple math.
The look in her eyes was more painful than any punch I'd ever taken. I turned away and almost ran toward the projector. Anything to get away from those eyes.
Results, please.
Yeah, we already heard the recording before, just minutes ago. Wow, what a pointless round that was. Nobody gained or lost anything. Completely pointless.
Points have been assigned or subtracted accordingly. Please check your bracelet to see your updated bracelet points.
What? It wasn't possible. I blinked, rubbed my eyes, and looked again. No. How can Alice's vote be betray? That's not possible! Alice? She was standing inside the second room from the left. The room that should have been empty. Why? My mind was still reeling. Where had she come from? As I was trying to form a sentence, she began to move toward us. From around me, I heard a chorus of muted gasps. It seemed we were united in our surprise and confusion. Alice drew to a stop in front of me and glanced up at the display.
Thought you'd get an easy couple points, huh? Not so easy when you have to look your victim in the eye, is it, coward?
Me, a coward? You've got some balls saying that to me after you picked betray. Why are you even here?
You gave me the antivirus, didn't you? Tenmyoji told me. Thank you. I mean that from the bottom of my heart, honestly.
But you should still be under the effects of the anesthetic.
Yes, well, I still am. A bit. I have a throbbing headache, and I can barely stand. It's horrible. I'm more resistant to anesthetics than most people. A result of my training. I have a feeling Zero Senior knew that. They gave me way more than the standard dose of that gas when they kidnapped me. In any event, a few minutes ago I woke up in the infirmary. Tenmyoji explained what was going on, and I got here as fast as I could.
So you showed up right after we'd gone into the AB room?
Yes. Right in the nick of time, too. About 10 seconds before the deadline, as I recall.
Just so you could betray us?
Right. What? Don't I get to do that? I mean, it turned out to be the right thing to do, didn't it? You two chose betray. If I'd stayed back there, I'd have lost 2 points.
So you're saying it was self-defense?
Yes.
You're full of shit. Self-defense my ass. You chose betray because you wanted out. You had 6 BP. If I picked ally, you would have had 9. That's what you were trying to do, right?
So what if I was?
Are you serious? You would have killed me. Look, I only have 1 BP. You were this close to murdering me. Just admit it. You were planning to kill me so you could escape.
Don't be stupid. I knew you'd choose betray. There was...
Tell the truth!
That is the truth. Why am I the only one getting the 3rd degree here? Look at those results. 2 other people just tried to kill someone.
Fine Dio.
Yes. If Dio had chosen ally, Phi would have killed Tenmyoji. And if she'd chosen ally, Dio would have killed her.
Oh dear.
But it looks like Clover and Kay tried to trick one another. Not that it seems to have worked. If either one had chosen ally, the other one would have 9 BP right now.
I turned to look at the results again. Before, I'd only been looking on my own. I hadn't realized that there was only one word all across the roster. Betray. Whatever trust we managed to build had fallen apart. Everyone was suspicious of everyone else. Had it been the bombs? Or had it been something else? Whatever the reason, if it kept up, we'd never manage to escape. We'd be trapped in a cycle of 0-point rounds for the rest of our lives. Something had to be done. I closed my eyes and took a deep breath. Alright guys, pay attention. You've probably already all figured this out, but we can't keep going like this. If we don't start being a little more trusting, we're never gonna get out of here. We need to work together. I might as well have been talking to a wall.
My apologies, Sigma, but I need to think on something for a bit. I would appreciate being left alone.
Okay.
I'll be leaving too. Things are getting a little too intense here for my delicate constitution. Sorry.
Dio.
Well, in that case...
At 2, Phi?
Yeah, sorry.
Without another word, she turned and left the warehouse. Dio and Kay quickly followed suit.
See? There's your answer. In the end, everyone's just thinking about themselves. So I would appreciate it if you could not treat me like I'm the only villain here. Come on, Clover. Let's go.
Hold on! I'm coming! Are you feeling okay? I was really worried, you know?
I watched them walk away, Clover practically jumping with delight to have Alice back. Before long, they reached the yellow door and disappeared beyond it.
Everyone's gone.
You aren't going to leave too?
No.
Are you sure? I chose Betray.
I know, but I still believe in you, Sigma. I think your hand must have just slipped or something, right?
My chest hurt, and when I blinked, I felt something hot and wet prick the corners of my eyes. Luna, I bit my lip. Before I could think of anything to say, the metallic rumble of the doors closing echoed through the warehouse. Oh yeah, the changing of the chromatic bracelets. Yeah, the changing of the colors of the bracelets.
Round 3 of the Ambidex game will be the Star Round. Star keys are required to open the gates. There is no set limit on usage of the star
Yeah, apparently
keys.
Shane just said, hey, and then left without another word.
The Ambidex gates can be opened as many times as the players wish to open them.
As many times as we want, huh?
Yes, as long as we have the star keys. That means we can keep playing the AB game over and over, too. Sigma? Could you show me your bracelet?
Why?
Do you remember what Zero Jr. said?
As soon as the gate's closed, your colors get all shuffled up automatically. A pair of solo assignments hop around a bit too.
Yeah, I remember. Let's see here. I'm a cyan pair. What about you?
I'm a magenta pair.
I wonder what the others are.
We could be anything, I suppose. We won't know until we have a look.
We've got about 80 minutes until the next set of chromatic doors open. So, what should we do now?
Everyone else has gone off on their own.
Yeah. Physically and emotionally. I really don't like how this is going. It won't matter how many times we repeat the AB game if nobody trusts anybody else. We'll never be able to get out of here.
Maybe it would help if we all had a common goal. Something to unite our hearts and minds.
Yeah, but we've already got something like that. We all want to get out of here. That seems like a pretty clear goal to me, but everybody chose betray, including me.
Well, what if we have an enemy?
An enemy?
Yes, a common foe. Like the person who set the bombs, for instance.
After coming back from the lab, I told her about the bomb while she gave Alice and Quark the Accelavir. Yeah, that might work. If we could figure out which one of us planted those bombs, then everyone else would work together against them.
Right.
But how do we figure out who it is?
Do you have any clues?
Clues, huh? Yeah, that card we've been carrying. Oh, that's right! The memory card! I pulled it out of my pocket and held it out toward her.
What's this?
I told you, a memory card. It was under the bomb we found in the lab. I think whoever set the bomb dropped it.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know what's on it, though. We couldn't find any kind of memory card reader.
Oh, I guess we can't really use it then. Oh, wait a second. You know what? I think I might have seen something.
Huh?
Yes, I remember. The infirmary. I saw it when I was searching the infirmary with Theo and Quark. There was a memory card just like that one.
Then...
Yes, I think we can see what's on it. The computer there should be able to read it.
Luna and I exploded into the infirmary, nearly running into Alice, Clover, and Temiochi. Quark was there as well, of course, but he was just as we left him, asleep on the bed.
What are you doing here?
I opened my mouth to retort, then thought better of it. If I really want people to start trusting each other, well, real change starts at home. As quickly as I could, I explained the second bomb and the memory cards, and how we come to the infirmary in hopes that we can discover the contents of the ladder.
Okay.
Then stick it in already!
Go ahead.
Right. Just as Lewis said, there was a small slot under the screen, exactly the right size to fit a memory card. Within moments, the screen was filled with what appeared to be random letters. Okay. This looks a bit weird. Yeah, what the heck is this so far? What is this?
6 rows, 22 letters each.
It looks like the odd rows use one set of letters, and the even rows use another set.
In other words, the first 2 rows just repeat.
Yeah.
Is this some kind of code or something?
It doesn't look random to me. I think there might be a pattern. I just don't know what it is.
Was there anything else on there?
No, it doesn't look like it.
So all we get is this gibberish. Hey, Alice, you haven't said anything for a while. What's up?
Does any of this look familiar to you, Clover?
What do you mean?
Have you seen something like this before? Maybe during your training?
Training?
This is...
So you do recognize it.
All right, knock it off, you two. How about you share it with the rest of the class?
Alice sighed and stretched her neck from side to side.
I believe this is an encoded message from a terrorist organization.
What?
They call themselves the Myrmidons.
Myrmidons? For some reason I felt like I heard that name before. And Dio's part of that group as well, so... Yeah, I think I probably have a good idea who set the bombs now.
What are the Myrmidons?
Put simply, they're a bunch of thugs who are trying to destroy or dismantle most of human civilization.
So this thing we're looking at, you think it's theirs?
Well, they have a number of different codes, but I do think this is one of them.
Then the bomb? It was set by one of the Myrmidons, wasn't it?
Yes. Well, I can't say for sure, of course, but it seems likely.
Damn, I have got a ton of questions for you. But let me start with this one. What the heck does that thing say?
I don't know.
What?
How am I supposed to decode it? I don't have the key. Without a key, it would take literally hundreds of years to decode.
What about you, Clover?
Well, if Alice doesn't know how, I sure don't.
See,
Not much we could do then. We could come back to that code stuff later. I got another question. Alice, Clover, who the hell are you? Why do you know about this code?
That's...
You told me your job was to eliminate enemies of the state or something like that. Just what the hell kind of a job is that? I think it's time you told us what you do.
Sorry, but I can't.
Why not?
Because you might be one of them. You might be the person who set the bomb.
That's idiotic. Of course I'm not.
Really? And where's your proof? For all I know, you're my enemy. I can't tell you anything.
I'm not your enemy. I'm your ally. I'm your friend. I just want all of us to get out of here. Just please tell us. Please. We need to find out who did this so we can all escape. But we have too little information. We need your help. Fine. If you won't tell us about yourself, then just tell us about the Myrmidons. What else do you know about them?
I'm sorry.
Before I could blink, she left up and ran out of the room. Ah, dang it, Alice. Hey! Wait! Alice! I took off after her.
How long are you going to keep following me?
Until you tell me what you know.
Then why don't you just ask Clover?
Clover?
You already know she works with me.
Well,
Then
yeah.
why don't you...
I wanted to hear it from you.
Why?
That's a good question. Remember the crew quarters or this garden? We got paired up for 2 separate rounds. That means I spent more time with you than anybody else here. Maybe that's it. I guess I'm just curious about you.
What are you talking about?
She spun around to hide it, but I caught a blush of red on her cheeks. We walked down the path to where it ended, next to the pond. I stayed silent. Alice sat down on the bench. We gazed at the smooth surface of the pond for several long minutes before she began to speak.
You don't hate me?
What? Why?
I tried to kill you.
You mean in the AB game?
Yes. I was so scared. Who wouldn't be? Kidnapped and locked up, forced to play some sort of bizarre game. And then we found that bomb. I know I probably sounded calm, but as soon as we found that thing, all I wanted to do was run away from it as fast as I could. Things just went downhill from there.
What do you mean?
I remember hearing that Quark had collapsed and running to the infirmary with everyone else. When I got there, I realized I couldn't understand what anyone was saying, and everything looked... I don't know how to describe it. It was like watching a video on fast forward, only it was real. Then I started to feel like... It's hard to explain. I guess you could say I didn't feel like I was myself, and it only got worse.
That was probably the Radical 6.
Yes, I think so. I don't remember much after that. But when I woke up in the infirmary, suddenly all that fear was back. So all I could think about was getting out of this place as fast as I could. It never even crossed my mind that it could kill you. God help me, even if it had, I don't think I would have cared. See? I'm horrible. You hate me, don't you? Just do it!
What? Do what?
Kill me! Get it over with!
hell, Alice? I'm not going to kill you. I don't even hate you. If you want my opinion, yeah, all that hate from you, it vanished from you in an instant right there. Yeah, see, Alice, you can redeem yourself in my eyes.
You're lying. I could have killed you. I would have killed you.
Come on, calm down. No one's killing anyone. A single tear rolled down Alice's cheek, then another and another, leaving shining lines across her face. When I reached out, I saw her tense just slightly. Slowly, I brushed my thumb across her cheek and off, taking her tears with it.
Why are you doing this? You know, you kind of remind me of my father.
That's who you were after, right? The people who killed your dad?
Yes.
Did they have anything to do with the Myrmidons?
Will you promise not to tell Clover that I cried?
Come on.
If you keep your mouth shut, I'll tell you what you want to know. About myself. And about the Myrmidons. Deal?
Sure. My lips are sealed.
Really?
What crying? I don't remember a crying.
Good. Alright then.
Alice took a deep breath and began. My father is Egyptian, but my mother is French. They met while my mother was in Egypt on vacation and married shortly thereafter. When I was 3, we all moved to the US. Okay, so far Alice is getting a good backstory here. So this is not like this all ice Alice version, you know, from way back before during the Egyptian times, where she's actually frozen in ice. I think this is a different Alice entirely. My father was a scientist and his field was cloning. He was recruited by an American lab, which was why we moved. Both of my parents had used English around me from the time I was born, so I didn't have any problems adapting to life in the United States. By my 9th birthday, we'd been there for 6 years. That was when it happened. In the middle of the day, my mother showed up at school. Her eyes were red and puffy, but she didn't say anything to me on the drive home. When we arrived, there were several policemen there to meet us. My father had always been a very punctual man, and when dinner time came and went with no sign of him, even I began to realize something terrible had happened. It wasn't until several years later that I finally learned the truth. My father's lab had been attacked by terrorists and he had been kidnapped. For the rest of my childhood, my mother raised me by herself. I didn't realize it then, but it must have been incredibly difficult for her, as a single mother alone in a country where any relatives were a transatlantic flight away. She did her best not to let me see it, but every so often when she thought she was alone, the mask would fall away, and in every line of her face, I could see exhaustion and loneliness. As much as I missed my father, it was those moments that made me wish more than anything that he'd never been taken. Fortunately, I was an excellent student and did especially well in math. I earned a full-ride scholarship straight out of high school and spent the next several years studying. After graduation, I took a job with the Department of Defense, hoping that they might have the resources to help me look for my father. I was immediately assigned to the Special Office of Internal Security. Their purpose is to investigate and sometimes deal with terrorist organizations and other serious threats to the state. I could tell my mother wasn't happy about my decision, but she chose to remain silent about it. Eventually, I learned that the terrorist organization that had taken my father was none other than the Myrmidons, although at the time that name didn't mean anything to me. They were suspected of human cloning. Specifically, it was thought that they had been using cloning techniques to copy their most useful members and expand their ranks. The Myrmidons apparently believed that they could use cloning to create a new race of humans. Now at last, I knew the reason for my father's abduction. The commander of the Myrmidons is a man named Left. We know his name and his gender, but not his appearance or his age. The Myrmidons are closely associated with a cult known as Free the Soul. We believe that Free the Soul provides their funding. but trying to pin any kind of misdeeds on the cult's leader, a man named Brother, is like trying to nail Jello to a wall. Brother is supposed to be fairly advanced in years, and rumors say he's so old he can't even get out of bed. Unfortunately, his mind seems to be as sharp as ever. At that point, I hit a wall. I knew the Myrmidons had been behind my father's kidnapping, but that was all I could learn about them. Then one day, I got a tip that some of them were hiding in a building in the Nevada desert. I headed out immediately. On the way there, my car had some engine trouble and stalled out. I was trying to decide what to do when an SUV appeared out of nowhere. I'll give you one guess who was behind the steering wheel. Clover. That was the first time we met. There were 4 other people in the car with her, and when I asked them what they were doing, I got what was just about the last answer I expected. They told me they'd been locked up inside of the very building I'd been on my way to investigate, and that they were currently in pursuit of the people who had kidnapped them in the first place. My priorities shifted very quickly. After a short discussion, I convinced them to allow me to come along. My hope was to find the people they were chasing, who I were certain were Myrmidons. In the end, however, we were unable to track them down. In fact, I still don't know where they may have gone. Eventually, I took Clover and her companions to SOIS headquarters. We decided that involving the police would only complicate things. After some questioning, it was determined that the people who had instigated this particular event were not connected to the Myrmidons. We did, however, discover that the mysterious disappearance and subsequent reappearance of several children 9 years prior was connected to Free the Soul. There was also a 6th person in the SUV, although they weren't riding in it per se. A middle-aged man, who I'll just call H for now, had been bound and placed in the trunk. Honestly, I would rather call him A. According to the other 4, he had been behind the disappearance of the children 9 years earlier. We also learned that his pharmaceutical company, a major player in the world on stage, was effectively controlled by Free the Soul. More specifically, I suppose, H was a member of Free the Soul and very committed to their cause. So why had he kidnapped all those children? Apparently it had part of an experiment designed to test the ability of certain people to access what's called the morphogenetic field. I don't imagine you've ever heard of it before, so I'll try to give you a quick rundown. Simply put, these people can access a sort of field that allows their consciousness to resonate with the consciousnesses of certain other people. To be honest, it might be simpler to just call it telepathy. The SOIS had heard of this particular ability before, and had actually used it in a number of investigations, so I wasn't surprised to learn of its existence. I was shocked, however, to learn that these experiments had been carried out by a member of Free the Soul. If that was the case, then Brother must have known about it. The thought of him discovering a way to control and harness that power was terrifying. It wasn't too long after the incident in Nevada that another tip about the Myrmidons crossed my desk. This time, it claimed that the Myrmidons intend to launch a large-scale biological terrorist attack. My bosses decided that we needed more agents to deal with a threat of that magnitude, and Clover was recruited. Because she'd been a test subject in H's experiment, we knew she had the ability to access the morphogenetic field, and we wanted to put that ability to use. After several months of training, she was sent on her first mission. She would be tasked with the infiltration and investigation of a Myrmidon cloning lab. I was assigned to be her commanding officer. I had hoped that our investigation might also give me a lead on my father's whereabouts. At last, I had a chance to find out what had happened to him. I wouldn't let that chance pass me by. Perhaps that was what kept me from noticing the truth. The whole operation was a trap. And the lab was fake, and Clover was captured almost immediately. I got there as fast as I could, but when I arrived, the building was only an empty shell. All the conspirators who had pretended to be researchers and the like had already fled. I searched frantically for Clover until at last in a basement room I found her. She had been tied to a chair, but on the floor next to her was another body. It was my father. He looked as if he'd just been dumped there, and when I got to him, his body was already cold. He was covered in dark, ugly bruises. It wasn't until later that I learned he had died from ruptured organs and internal bleeding. They had beaten him to death. As soon as Clover had been captured, a Myrmidon in a mask had come to visit her. He said that unless she wanted to end up like my father, she would leave them alone and tell her masters at the SOIS would do likewise. In retrospect, they must have known who I was and who my father was. That was why they killed him. Perhaps they thought they were sending the message to me, or that once he was gone, I'd lose my reason for chasing them. They were very, very wrong. I took Clover with me and left. I tried to console myself with the fact that I had at least been able to save her. Sometime later, I received a call from the coroner. He told me there was something I needed to see. There in the morgue was my father, cold and pale, on a steel table. I could barely stand to look at him, but the coroner insisted. On his arms were 2 rows of numbers, comprised of 8s and 9s. It took me a moment to recognize my father's handwriting. He had carved them into his own skin. On his chest was another message, but they were letters this time, not numbers. Not many, just enough to make a short sentence. I love you, Alice. I broke down crying right there in the morgue. They were the first tears I'd shed since the operation had started, and there was no stopping them. There would be no forgiveness. Not for the monsters who put my father through this. They destroyed my family. I would make them pay, even if I had to die to do it. That night, I made a promise to myself. I would avenge my father. It didn't take long to figure out that the numbers he'd written were latitude and longitude. They pointed to a chemical factory that had been disguised as an abandoned building. Further investigation revealed that was the mother lode we'd been looking for. The headquarters of the Myrmidons. I think my father must have known how things would turn out. Knowing he was going to die, he'd written the directions to our enemy's fortress on his own body. He sacrificed too much for me to waste this opportunity with recklessness. This time, our operation would succeed. This time, I wouldn't let my excitement put Clover or any of my other agents in danger. So we took our time. We gathered information. We did our research and we planned. Finally, we were ready. December 25th, 2028 was going to be the day we finally set foot inside the Myrmidon stronghold. But then, on the 22nd, only 3 days before the operation was scheduled to begin, a man in a gas mask appeared. Yeah, how are you doing in the chat today, Crimson? How are you enjoying the stream thus far? So you inhaled that gas, passed out, and woke up here in the AB room?
Yes. Well, there it is. Everything that's happened with the Myrmidons and me. I left a few of the details out, of course, but you get the idea.
Yeah. Thanks. She gave me a sad sort of smile and stood up.
We should go back.
Not yet. Your story explained a lot, but there's still one big question.
Which is?
Who here is a Myrmidon? One of us planned the bombs. And based off the code we found, it's pretty clear that a person is a Myrmidon. Yeah, hey Crimson, how are you doing today? How are you enjoying the stream thus far? Right?
Yes.
And I agree that we need to figure out who they are.
What do you propose we do?
Well, that's what I wanted to ask you about. Do you have any clues?
Clues? Well, if I could decrypt that code, it might tell us something, but...
How can we do that?
I told you. We need a key. Without that, it's pointless.
What's a key?
A key is a key. It allows you to sort of unlock a code. Myrmidons usually use this huge string of numbers as a key.
Wait. A long string of numbers? Could that be... And it kind of looks like that we can't advance further from this path until we view Dio's ending, which luckily I've already did, so I can continue on here. Which gives us a pretty strong possibility of who set off the bombs. 78153 61098 83809 42419 90551.
What the hell?
Yeah, more text appeared. I'm just gonna wait for the trophy screen to disappear, and there it goes. I was almost as surprised as she was. The numbers had just kind of appeared in my mind, and I was saying them before I knew what I was doing. Alice looked at me incredulously, and I stared back.
Where did... Wait. Can you say that again?
78153 61098 83809 42419 90551.
That's 198,449,351 to the third power.
198,449,351 to the third power? What?
That number you just told me. Prime factor decomposition on that number gets you 198,449,351 to the third power.
You're talking about reducing an integer to a series of prime numbers that you multiply together to get it, right? Like, if you have 30, then you get 2 times 3 times 5, right?
Exactly. You probably learned that in junior high, right?
So you're saying that 198,449,351 is a prime, and if you multiply it by itself 3 times, you'd get 781536109883809 or 241990551?
Yes.
Don't tell me you just did all that in your head.
I did do all of that in my head. Simple mental arithmetic.
What? No way. That's impossible.
I told you. I'm better at math than most people.
Including me, which I know to be pretty good at math. That's not better at math.
Look at you. You just recited a huge string of numbers. That seems pretty astounding, too. Where did you find that number anyway?
I didn't know what to say. What would I tell her? That just came to me?
Can't tell me, huh? Fine. I'm pretty sure that's the key to the code, though. I know the Myrmidons use prime factors for their keys. And there aren't a lot of 25-digit numbers that turn out to be the third power of a prime number. I think there's a very good chance that number you memorized was specifically created by someone.
Could you explain that with small words?
Well, look at the prime factors of your number. 198,449,351 to the third power. I think that's our hint for cracking the code. You still don't get it? Try to remember the code we saw in the infirmary. What did it say on the monitor?
I think the first row was... yeah, this thing. Okay, so let me just try to calculate this right there, because I got the number written down. 198,449... I mean, 198,449,351. So let's see. So the first letter could be a C. It could be a C. Then 9 more. O. Then 8. M. Then 4. P. 3. T. 5. E.